It's Pania. I'm going to show you how to make this really beautiful single crochet through the V-stitch, where you'll see that the back and the front pattern are exactly the same. Go chain 1 to begin our next round. So if you look here, this one is chain 1, and then right below is your slip stitch that we created earlier from the row below. So if you get here and you get a little confused because you see this big gap here, you'll see that there's a line right here, and there's also a line just right above, and that's actually the slip stitch that you create to join your rounds. So that's why it doesn't look like a V, just a big gap with a straight line in between, and that's how you know that's the beginning or ending of that round. If you look to the left here, there's a V stitch. Right here is your V stitch. So this is a single crochet, and then you'll see that there's another V right next, and that's a second single crochet. There's a third one. So at the beginning of the row here, you would have your chain 1, and then we'll skip this stitch here because that's a slip stitch below, and we'll work into this first single crochet here. You'll look for the V. So we'll single crochet into the V stitch. That way we can make this pattern where the V stacks on top of each other, and you would also see it at the back as well. So what's going to happen is you're going to find that right loop on that V stitch, the right loop, that's this one here. So you'll pull that loop to the side a little bit with the tip of your hook right here. So pull it to the side, and you'll see that there's a loop right on top of the hook. So here is your regular 2-top loop where you would work into for a single crochet. So instead of going right into that, we're gonna go pull that V stitch a little bit to the side and insert through the top loop right just above the hook. This is the one that we would have to go through to create a V at the back. And so we'll also insert it just below both of the top loop as well, and pull through all of that loop. Yarn over and pull through 2, and there you have a single crochet through the V. Like I said, that allowed us to make a single crochet in through the front of the V here. So we'll stack the V on top, and also stacking the V at the back on top of another V. So if you look at the back here, you'll see that there's this V here from below, and you can see that there's another V stitch we just made that is stacked on top of the V below. I'll make a couple more stitches to show you how it looks like a little bit more better when you build up the row from here. Again, you'll find your V here. You pull that right loop to the side and insert through that little loop, and then through all of the top 2 loop as well. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through those 2. And with this type of single crochet, you want to be a little loose, or else when you find that top loop that you're going to dig under, it could be very tight and hard to get through. So like this one here, it's easy to get because it's loose. So this is the one that can get really, really tight. And you'll know that you did it right because when you pull through the yarn through like this right here, there should only be one loop that's super close to your hook. And if you feel like when you pulled up it's too thick, you might have grabbed 2 of the loops from the back. And if you think that you did it wrong, you can always check with the back, because you'll see that the V you just made will stack just on top of the other V below. So continue to make these single crochet stitches in the V's all the way to the end of the round, and then I'll show you how to end the round, and then how to actually build it up so that you can create or extend your project a little bit bigger. So I've reached the end of my round, and this is the beginning of the round. So I just made a single crochet stitch right here, and I have 2 more, so 1, 2 to do. So you'll see a V there and a V here, and then you'll see this big gap with a flat line, and that's your slip stitch from below. Let's finish here, single crochet into the V, 1 here, and then 1 last one. So once you're done with that last single crochet, you'll look for the first single crochet of the beginning of the round. It's the big gap slip stitches from the row below, so we'll skip that. We'll go into that top loop of the first single crochet and slip stitch to connect the round, so we finish that round. So you'll see these horizontal lines, those are the slip stitches that joins your round. Then turn your work. I like to turn my work each round for garments, especially because if you can continue just building up the row in one direction without turning around. But then if you do that, you'll notice that where you begin the slip stitches, they'll start leaning to the right and it's not going to be a vertical line straight up. So I like to turn my round each time just so that we can keep those slip stitches equal straight up. Chain 1, and this is the slip stitch below, so we'll skip that and we'll look for the next V. That's your first single crochet. You'll work into that first single crochet through the V. And then continue making the single crochet all the way around, and that is how you build up round on top of another round to extend your project or the length of your project. Did a couple of stitches already, so if you look over here on the left side here, you'll see that there's V stacking on top of V's, stacking on top of V's, and that is essentially what you want to create. I like this type of stitches because at the back of your work, it'll look exactly like the front where you have these V's stacking on top of each other. I'm using a really small type of yarn. This is like category 3, lightweight yarn, and this is like the perfect type of yarn to create garments. If you were to use like a category 4 or even bigger, this type of single crochet through the V will be quite thick. So yeah, this is the front, and the back, you look exactly the same. And if you were to turn your work to the side, it'll look like knits. Thanks for watching.